Stronger.
Imagine a world without choices.
Stronger.
Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. We're gonna be stronger together. Come, we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I.
Good evening, Uniters. How are we this evening? One Jamaica Stronger Together. Welcome to our live this evening. I'm Dr. Coretta Brown-Johnson, who is VP for Middlesex and also MP candidate for West Rural St. Andrew. So tonight we're talking about the state of Jamaica from a youth perspective. I don't know how many of you have been talking to our young people. Our young people are the future of Jamaica and the world. And so we want to be sure that we're providing a good foundation for them and creating solutions for our young people. And this is also a part of the UIC's mandate to do that, to reach our youth, to get them involved, to get them the health care, the food, the mindset, the behaviors, the socialization, the support that they need. And so that's very, very important. So tonight we're talking about the state of Jamaica from the young people's perspective. Now I have with me tonight our MP candidate for Central Manchester, Mr. Vincenzo Crawford, and a young person who recently graduated from UWI. Her name is Danneak Irons, and she actually graduated with a degree in journalism, but she's not really in the journalism field. So we're going to have Danneak talk about that as to, why you not use the degree where you spend so much money on to go to school, what's happening, what's your perspective? And then we'll hear from Mr. Crawford as well about his perspectives on the state of the youth, because we all deal with young people in our day-to-day lives. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, and then we'll get the conversation going. Welcome again. All right, so ladies first, right, Vincenzo, Mr. Crawford, Danneak Irons, welcome. Thank you
Hi.
so much for agreeing to be on with us tonight. I was really, really appreciative of that, of you giving of your time to join us to share, with our audience. So go ahead, Danneak, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about that degree, what's going on there. Over to you.
All right. Good night, everyone. I thank you for the opportunity to even come and talk. As a youth, we're not necessarily always heard. Yes, the adults may ask us a few questions here and then, but when it comes to actually listening and executing, that doesn't actually play out. So I thank you so much for the opportunity to talk. As it relates to my degree, I graduated with honors from UWI. What a lot of persons don't know when you graduate, because they say that education is the key. With your degree, you can branch off, you can find this, you can, grow in the environment that you were raised to be in. But the reality is that work is very, very hard to find. And the government doesn't make it easier for youths, especially the ones that are currently doing their degrees, to find a space where we are able to even do an internship somewhere or to get the much needed experience for the employers to actually see that we have the knowledge base and the actual activity base to go into their company, because they're always asking for a certain number of years of experience. And without the government providing that type of, time where we can grow and learn, it really doesn't help us in the long run. So now I am in the travel industry and I've grown a lot. I really appreciate my employer. He took the chance on me, and I have learned to know I am ahead in the educational department for study abroad for my company. Right?
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? You're ahead in terms of education abroad. What does that
Right.
mean?
So I manage the study abroad department at the current moment. So I deal with all the schools. Communication really goes hand in hand with my degree. And I get the chance to talk to persons, to talk to different schools, to gather partnerships. I do all the contracts. I talk to the students. I go out and let the parents know that better is out there for the children abroad,
Mhm.
and they don't have to be closed off and just settle within Jamaica. Yes, it's gonna take an arm and a leg, but for your children, you have to want better for them, and you have
Yeah.
to go ahead and gather it for them.
No, I was just polling some young people today, and getting ready for this show, and somebody said to me, we're elite as Jamaicans, but they just don't treat us right as young people. Do you agree with that? Like, don't you feel treated as the youth, the green people of the country? You should feel like you have some hope in terms of just maximizing your potential, just developing yourself. You're saying that's a no?
Yeah, it definitely is a no. Right throughout university, the one thing that is on everybody's mind as soon as they graduate is to migrate. There is
Wow.
something statistically wrong if all of your young persons, their most immediate fact or immediate thought is to migrate, because that's where they're gonna earn money, that's where they're gonna grow, that's where they're gonna get their families, that's where they're gonna get better health care, get their finances in check, stuff like that. There is something really wrong if that is the case with all young persons. I have not met anyone that in within my age group, in my mid 20s, and there is literally no one in my age group that says that they are ready to stay in Jamaica. They love it so much and they want to build on it and gather into their careers and stuff like that, raise their families here. It doesn't fit well with young people. What most of us are saying is that when we go abroad and we gather enough finances and we feel like we're financially stable, then yeah, sure, we'll come back. When you have finances, like a certain level of finances, Jamaica is the best place to live,
All
right?
right,
And
thank
as
you
a
for
young
that.
person,
Yeah, I'm gonna pause you so I can bring in Mr. Crawford's perspective. Don't we're gonna get more from you. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I don't see much difference out there myself, but sometimes we have to get involved to create the difference and create the foundation. And that's a part of what the UIC is about, as we have talked about. Creating these solutions, these platforms, the foundation for young people to have an alternative to just become something bigger. Mr. Crawford, go ahead and introduce yourself to us. Welcome. And then share your perspective on the title, State of Jamaica, the youth perspective. You work with youth, you're in education. Please go ahead, share with us.
Right. So, greetings, everybody. My name is Vincenzo Crawford, UIC MP candidate for Northeast Manchester. And my friend here spoke a lot of truth. The youths in Jamaica, just overall, the youths are being ignored. You see, I know I experienced it when I left high school. I am very surprised that I can actually sit here and speak to you and speak to everybody that's listening about how the fact that I'm actually an educator today. You understand? And if I was to actually let you into the journey, you'd realize that it was a very challenging journey. You understand what I'm saying? Matter of fact, you have to say, when you really assess it, I recently became an educator just about 5 years ago. You know what I mean? And the time period before that, it was very struggling. Fact of the matter is, the degree in which I studied, yeah, it was a STEM degree. It is a STEM degree. And I could not
What is STEM,
actually,
Vincenzo? For those of us who don't know, just break down the STEM words for us, please.
so STEM is simply the integration of science, which is S, technology, right, which is the T, E would stand for English, and M would actually stand for math. So those persons who would be all rounded in these areas, if your degree encompasses all um, these disciplines, then that is a STEM degree. Therefore, you can really fit into. I'm sorry, I keep fidgeting because my phone keeps turning off. You can fit into many quadrants of society. Yeah, hence why I was able to utilize my degree for teaching. You understand what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is, students are not being given a fair cut of the societal pie whenever they actually leave university. So saying that to say, I agree with my friend as it relates to her take on the matter.
Right. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. President. Welcome, you other uniters joining us. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Our president is extending his blessings to you, Miss Danneak, for joining us. So right now, what would you say could be a solution? Danneak, I know there are programs that I've heard of programs. You have Heart NTA, you have other programs that the young people are supposed to be able to articulate into to earn. So what do you see now? Because clearly you weren't interested in doing that. What do you see as a solution now that could happen for young people?
All right. So with Heart, they do offer a lot of courses, but the marketing or the campaigning behind Heart is just not done right. Yes, they have a lot of technical subjects, but what happens to the persons who I don't want to do cosmetology, I don't want to do graphic designing, I have my degree in that. How does that help me if I already have a degree in graphic designing for me to go and get a Heart NTA certificate in graphic designing, right? Where are the job opportunities after I attend Heart? I see where they just launched the Lift project, where
Mm-hmm.
they will be able to have 50 candidates to start off with, right? But the
50
thing
as in 50?
Yes, 50.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So in that regard, they're going to pay you a stipend. You go through whatever it is that you studied in, whether in high school or in college, and they place you in a company that's government funded afterwards, right? And they take a portion of your pay, put that into a bank account so that you have savings that is in a fixed deposit, right? And then you get the remaining funds as your stipend or your salary. But with that 50 candidates, it's at a rank basis. So what does it take for me to end up in a high enough rank where I get the opportunity to actually go on the program? They're not talking much about that. We are not educated on what exactly is expected of us and how best the program is going to help us to propel into a career that is going to benefit us.
Wow, Danny, thanks for sharing that. I've been hearing about the LIFT program, but I really didn't have that perspective on it at all. So I'm going to play another voice note from another young person who shared their perspective on how they feel, about what's happening in Jamaica now and how youth are affected and then we'll continue the conversation after that, because a lot is said in this voice note that reiterates what we are trying to say now, and how as to how our young people in Jamaica are feeling. Here we go.
Because
Okay, hang on.
with the rising crime rate, the state of our country is deplorable, yes. Because
Are you hearing?
with the rising crime rate, the consistent degenerate degenerate type of music that's been played every day and recorded and being allowed to play on the airways, the media force feeding us information that majority of the persons them don't understand, and also the lack of opportunities. The wage gap is deplorable, extremely deplorable. It it's a cantankerous mess, and it needs to be fixed, truthfully. And you have ways that it can be fixed, because if you're looking at the future is the younger ones then now, the ones who are in high school, or to come out of high school, just going into high school, grade 7, grade 8, looking to come out of high school, going into college, to better the future generation that is coming. And it is kind of hard because there's a lack of opportunity for them, seeing that everybody is focused on the technological age and now push technology, so everybody forgets how you have other opportunities that them can use to build back the economy. You get me? And it makes no sense, seeing that they complain that the economy is shaky or the budget can't manage this, but yet the amount of money that Jamaica gets just from imports and exports, it it it, it doesn't make sense. And to crime, I believe that we can invest more into crime and violence, because our military, we're not doing anything with our military, frankly, because majority of the soldiers them up a camp a train, and every now and then they put them at a zozo, a special area of operation, and that makes no sense. Our police force needs to be retrained and re-educated, because they are also a part of the problem. They're a major part of the problem, because if you look at it, police own taxis, police own buses, police own bars, and all of these things. So them know the persons them who are in them and them know them personally, them in association with them. So we need to retrain and restructure all of the legal system itself to put the country on a better track.
Alrighty, so that was Daniel. Let me just give a perspective of who Daniel is. He's one of the newest members of the UIC, a new young member that recently joined, but he's also an aspiring young person. He's a part of the JDF reserves. I know him to be involved in all sorts of things. He's a part of the national rugby team. He trains young people. So he's out there doing things. And now, if we have such a young man who has this drive to improve himself and to give back, having that perspective where it's like the thing now work, it not make sense. They're not about us as young people. We have a problem. And it's a serious concern because majority of our young people, as you hear Miss Danneak speak about the perspective of the young people she engages with, it's this sense of despondency, a lack of hope. So we need to really build on the UIC concept, the 10-point plans. One of the 10-point plans that we have is to make sure that every young person who graduates from high school is employed. So they're not going into some deviance or something else like gangs, because we have a lot of gang issues going on now. So I want to hear from you guys though. Mr. Vincenzo, Mr. Danneak, what are your thoughts on that voice note? Because here is another young man in his 20s, young Jamaican male, JDF reserve, enough energy, enough promise, but he's talking like that, like, yeah, we're really not there.
We have pretty much addressed the opportunity issue. Well, that is a real issue in Jamaica. But I made some notes. As it relates to the crime rate, that's a very valid concern that he has. And I heard him mention that without diving too deep into it, that sometimes you have the police being a part of it. And this is something where, in terms of the corruption, this is something that the UIC have actually spoken about before. You see, we've mentioned that you see if police were actually being paid, or law enforcement officers, let's use that term, were actually being paid according to the danger and the skill set that they have to, the danger that they have to, the risk that they have to bear, right? And the skill set that they bring to the country, then the country would be in a better position. You see, he spoke about police having taxis on the road. You see, and that is a significant part of the corruption because I've had to experience police stopping me and even some of my associates who are taxi drivers, dealing with them in a way wherein they have received some serious fines. You see, but at the end of the day, you have, if you really check that same police, he have like taxi, three, four, five taxi on the road, and you can't tell me, sir. Some of the time when if you should check it, all of them, not all of them, but a few of them, those taxis probably not so straight. I'm trying to choose my words well here.
Carefully, I
You
understand.
understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Right. So never
yeah.
mind the stuttering. Now, when you talk about the crime rate, you see, and this is my final take on it, on the voice note. You see, if you do an assessment, right, the countries that have the toughest gun laws tend to have some of the more significant problems. You see, because what you have done, what Jamaica have actually done to the Jamaica to the citizens of Jamaica is we have, and I keep on saying we because you see, if you're in our church and the whole church, the one member out of the church mess up, then them are gonna say the church. So are we? You understand? We have
Mm-hmm.
allowed law-abiding citizens to become sitting ducks. You understand what I'm saying? If I know that I can come for you and there will be no repercussion, or you don't have the kind of um we'll call it now tools to defend yourself, then I'm going to come to you in full force. You understand? And if you should say put up a resistance, then I'll be tempted to utilize whatever tools I have that you don't have access to get you to conform. Am I wrong or am I right here?
Well, you have, I mean, are you suggesting, because we don't want to deviate from
We're
the
not
real topic
deviating
at
at
hand,
all. We are on the
but in the
topic.
sense that, are you saying, well, what I can appreciate with what you're saying is our laws are like shackles instead of really being beneficial
It's
in the
not
sense
been
of
that is the case.
empowering the people.
It is
The
not
law
beneficial.
sometimes is like a shackle to the citizenry, people.
Exactly. Exactly what I'm
Okay.
trying to say here, right? It is not beneficial to law-abiding citizens. And if it's not
Right.
beneficial to law-abiding citizens, you can most youths leaving school, you can just put them under the law, especially those who would have gone to university. You can
Okay.
pretty much put them within the category of law-abiding citizens. Not all, but most. They actually want better for themselves. That's actually the reason why they went to university in the first place.
First
You
place.
understand? So it doesn't only affect us as adults, you see, it affects the younger persons leaving high school as well. And it affects the homes. If it affects the home when I am not able to protect my child the way I should, you see, then it what it does, it creates something in my child's mind to want to either leave the country or to actually, you know, what do you call it now, divert from the path to defend and provide for himself.
Right.
And so this would contribute to the crime rate as well. You see what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. We just want to thank you, Mr. Crawford. We want to welcome Mr. Romans. Yes, Mr. Duffus, One Jamaica Stronger Together. Hello to you, Noralie. And Mr. Noble says the UIC system has the blueprint to lift Jamaica out of 80 years of reversing man-made poverty and economic stagnation. Yes, so we reiterate that. Evening, Alvira Samuels and everybody else. Cappy said, God bless you, young lady. So, you're getting blessing showered on you, Miss Danneak. So, look, totally, totally. Hail Uniters. Yes, Mr. Burrell or Miss Burrell. I'm not sure. Carvel, the first name. Not sure if it's male or female. So we move now. Let us move a little bit into what the solutions could be, can be through the UIC platform. But before we do
So
that, I want yes, go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
to actually what you mentioned about solutions, and so to finish my state, what I was actually saying, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I completed the
I
entire
apologize. I
take,
thought you
right?
did, sir. Go ahead.
Right. And so the solution in this case, when we talk about because crime is a real problem, we can't even the Jamaican people, especially those who are would be within what you call somewhat innocent, yeah, they cannot have businesses without being antagonized. And a solution to that is the government actually need to empower the Jamaican people. You understand? Empower the Jamaican people to protect themselves, right? To protect their property. And this is actually a model that the UIC is bringing to Jamaica. You understand? You as an individual, whether young or old, have the right to your individual sovereignty, and that includes protecting yourself. You understand? In a way, because if you are not able to protect yourself, when seconds count, the police is hours away. You see? So the UIC is looking into this, and I promise you, when you see the UIC on the ballot, yeah, do not turn your eyes away. Get all the
Turn to
information you
80
need
years. Don't
today.
turn back to 80 years. Look
Right.
forward.
Do not, do not, do not. You should get as much information. You have the opportunity. I'm speaking to everybody right now. You have the opportunity to get as much information on the UIC right now so that when you go to the ballots, you know what time it is.
Yes. Yes, and Mr. Crawford will be working with his area as well. He'll be on the ballot, and I'll be on the ballot as well as MP candidates. So when you see, the names, just remember what the names represent. But I want to play one last voice note. More young professionals and graduates of the university should join the UIC and become candidates to help rescue Jamaica. It appears that persons in the current private sector are afraid of the PSOJ. Mr. Milton Brady says that. But I think the PSOJ is so entrenched at this point. The fear is past palpable. It's kind of like you can't move without them. When you see it out there, it's like we seem to think that we cannot exist without this band of people doing what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
to our society. You're
This is
saying something,
because
Danny? Sorry, I
sorry to
heard
cut you.
something.
This is because our two major political parties, members of our major political parties, have given so much power to the
Mm-hmm.
PSOJ to the
Mm-hmm.
point that it renders the Jamaican people
Helpless.
powerless
Yes,
and
powerless and helpless.
helpless. You see?
Powerless and
Yeah,
helpless.
so
Yeah.
we should all look into that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that comment, my friend.
Yes. Yes. We who believe in change must spread the word and to any and everyone who will listen. Yes, Patricia, I totally agree with that. There's a concept that I always work with even in the field that I'm in. You drop a stone in the river, you drop a stone anywhere, there's a ripple effect. So you start with yourself. You start with, what do I want to see change in my community? How can I affect young people? How can I affect other people within the areas of influence that I have? Yes, that is true. So we need campaign managers and money to successfully mount a winning campaign. We have to still start with us, and we have to raise the money for that. And that's a part of why the UIC is the answer for the real change. Repeating what Mr. Wayne Noble says, we have to start somewhere, and we're actively doing that. So, Carvel, if you want to volunteer to come and help with the campaign management, feel free, because we need more volunteers. So I want to bring us back though to the topic, which is the youth of Jamaica. So I can play this last voice note and move to one of the ideas for the solution that we do have through laying the foundation through the UIC's platform. So here's voice note number 2, another new member. Her name is Miss Rihanna Robinson.
Leadership
Hold on.
is atrocious. The standing of our current leadership is atrocious because in the House of Parliament, a lot of the time when you look at the sittings that are broadcast, the politicians are carrying on as hooligans, not being professional, disregarding the opinions of their fellow parliamentarians because they can and they're allowed to. Our leaders should be setting the example for its people. They complain about the inner city and the downtown behavior, but a lot of them bring it into the House of Parliament. When you look at the transparency between the politicians or our governing body and the regular everyday man selling bad juice on the road or driving the taxi, it is not there. A lot of them are not aware of the things that are being put into place, the policies that are being created and mandates that are being pushed. A lot of our literacy rate for our primary school students and our secondary school students are not where they should be on a global level or even a Caribbean level. How can you say the youth are our future when they cannot read and write or they do not have the work opportunities to make a positive future for themselves and to change the course that their family has been headed on? They're going to fall into the same habits as the previous generations in their family land based on what they observed growing up, because not enough opportunities are there and not enough people are aware of the little opportunities that are there to make a better future for the upcoming generations. And that does not make any sense because these everyday people are the ones who are voting and putting persons into place. So our politicians need to do better by setting the example, being more transparent, being better with our finances as a country. Because a lot of people cannot afford food. The prices of produce, of ground provisions, it is sky high. Or inflation is ridiculous at this point. And when school begins in 1 month, because September is right around the corner, when school begins, a lot of persons are going to be forced to choose between sending the child to school every day this week or feeding them every day this week or paying bus fare every day this week. And based on the amount of children that they have and their current social standing and economic background, that decision is going to continuously increase in difficulty. Now, how can you say that is a country that is thriving or positive when people cannot eat, people have to be choosing, and there are not enough programs with school feeding opportunities for the children? If you are hungry, you cannot learn.
All right, so I paused it there because it's pretty long, but it's not any of us speaking. It's a young person, young emerging adults saying, what are we really doing to create a foundation and a future for them to evolve and be better beings? She went deep into the generational aspect of this. We have also talked about the 80-year history that we have been rinse repeating and experiencing, and now our young people are pretty much in that space. So the dynamics of political campaigns pivot upon financial contributions. Okay, UIC shall break the chains and shackles and set the people free. That's where I stand. That's where we stand. We stand on the UIC being the solution. We stand on the UIC being the next government of Jamaica. So, unite us. Let's get on board. Let's get serious, more serious. Let's get real. Our young people, the future of Jamaica, they're already at stake. I think we're all in this together, and we really need to put our money now where our mouth is, or our mouth where our money is. We need to actually send a very strong signal to the people and the government that, look, this is no more, this can't keep happening. And when you get the next 40 years, we'll be in our 80s and 90s, those of us who are of similar age. When you look up, who do you want to see? Who do you want to see helping you out? Who do you want to see carrying the baton and the mantle forward? Are we empowering them now to do that? Yeah. So we want to speak to the solutions within each of our constituencies. Myself and Mr. Crawford will be doing different initiatives with the youth. We're looking at, for sure, raising. It's a continuous process to raise and donate to the UIC. We need the funds. So come on board, donate, volunteer, give of your time in any area. That's how we empower the movement to create a severe and succinct impact for the future. Any parting words?
Let me take you on that note.
Yes, yes.
Let me take you on that note because this is a very valuable note that you have put. To everybody that is listening, the UIC supports more young people participating in politics. You see, if you do not know what is going on within the political sphere of your country, you are a lamb to slaughter. Okay, so some persons may argue, based on one of the comments that you mentioned recently, Doc, is that what did the person say about the PSOJ?
Let's,
The UIC is in a state of requesting donation right now because we refuse to take mass sums from the PSOJ. You see? And let me tell you, those who are actually listening, what happens when you take mass sums from the PSOJ, right? Whatever you see happening in Jamaica right now, that is what happened. The fact of the matter is, you notice we spoke about the PSOJ having so much power that it renders the Jamaican people helpless. This is because the PSOJ virtually owns our government. Whoever spends on the government, if you have $100 million and you choose to give let's say 50 million to a party so that the party can run campaigns, would you give it to the party with no benefit coming? You would not, right? A whole $50 million run campaign. Just saying, just throwing figures out there, right? You would have to be getting something in return. And the return that the PSOJ receives is actually benefits. Benefits that put the Jamaican people at a significant disadvantage. Benefits which puts our education system at a significant disadvantage. You see, whoever funds their government owns their government. Learn that. You understand? So what the UIC is putting forward is that the Jamaican people fund the party so that they can own the party. We're really a movement,
Right.
you see. But because we have to register as a party and we have to call ourselves party in order to participate in the partisanship, you see, in the colonial whatever it is, yeah, the circus, yeah, we are bringing something for better to the Jamaican people. You understand? And in order to get that to you, we have to abide somewhat by their rules, their rules. You understand the
Mhm.
existing governance rules, and that is why we are actually called a party. But we're in that movement. You see?
Right.
So back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever fund their government owns their government. So what if we decide that we are not going to take mass sums from the PSOJ and we are going to allow the Jamaican people through taxes, yeah, whatever taxes and donations and whatever, right, to fund the party? Do you realize that you would actually own your party? And let me let you into
Progress.
something.
You don't your future.
Check
Our
this.
young
That
people will own their future.
some people, they would, they would own their future as well.
Mm-hmm.
Observe that you're probably living in a community where the inner lane roads are horrible. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and every election time they come around and they throw some liquor, whatever in some of the patrol and pave off a little path and stop a little distance, right? Understand that the amount of money that the current government spends on just campaign, yeah, and to pay persons for their votes, and this is not an allegation, this is in the Gleaner, yeah, you can look it up online, yeah. Understand that if we were to put those money together, we could fix every single inner lane roads in Jamaica so that your taxi fare get less.
Right. So I'm going to pause you there,
Think about that.
Vincenzo. Valid points, because we want to
Go
play
ahead.
the video now that is going to sell that point as one of the solutions and ideas that we plan to do with our young people in our communities. And that is to also to empower them, to help them learn, to manage themselves and to earn. So please donate. Again, it's important. Jamaica reality check. Milton Brady is selling salient points. So Patterson is saying PSOJ funds and the PSOJ funds and owns the JLP and PNP, so they will always work for the rich elite and never for the mass of the people. If we, the people, do not fund and own the party, we will not be able to win. So let us play this video, Naika, just to give a synopsis of one of the solutions. We are only two candidates in the process, so everybody is looking for this type of solution within their community. Go ahead, Miss Williams, if you can play that video for us. And the concept here is that we have purpose looking to see. If you look here, this is a community in West Rural St. Andrew. You notice the bush? Lot of bush is everywhere. So we're proposing that some of the young men get involved and form some sort of business or landscaping solution that we don't have to wait until Christmas time. Keep playing, Nika. So it's a whole stretch of roadway, one of the main roads. This is actually how the main road looks on the side, on each side of the road. You notice how much bush is there? Yeah. We propose to get our young men involved, get them certified, get them supported, get them funded, get the tools required, and set them up as a business opportunity to be a solution in this regard. Cut the grass, do landscaping, empower them in that particular way. We're not handing out anything to them. We're not trying to buy them. We're saying here's an opportunity for you to empower yourself towards the future of Jamaica, the future of yourself, the future of our children. And so put your hands, those who are willing to do, that's what's happening now. So we're polling young men in the community to get involved. It is also something that has been suggested, Mr. Crawford. We're actually having this conversation, young men are sending in their resumes. We are looking at the resumes, and we have to put all of this in writing and submit it to our president formally to reach further. So we're not just about the talk. We're actually thinking, and we're actually doing, and we're putting the talk to action. And so, Danneak, I'm giving you the final say. We have talked a lot. You're the young person here. What you think? Is it you? Tell me something. Anything on what you've heard and would like to share from your perspective.
I would like to start with the video first
Mm-hmm.
because what I've realized, even when I'm going to work, I walk to work, I work on Balmoral. So
Mm-hmm.
the grass is overgrown on the sidewalk.
And
There
remember, we pay tax for the grass cut. Don't forget.
Exactly. And
You're paying tax for it to get cut.
the bushes, there's a plant right up in your face when you're walking on the sidewalk. And I'm like, there are a lot of persons who just cut grass. Sometimes they're just at home because no one is cutting their grass often or whatever. And the taxes are coming out of my pay. We all see the taxes come out of our pay. What are they
Mm-hmm.
going to be doing with our taxes? What is the result? Why am I walking on the road? And half the time, I'm walking on the sidewalk and it's not an actual sidewalk. A car can
Mm-hmm.
just swerve and hit me, and he can simply say to his insurance company that, hey, she was in the middle of the road,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then the potholes, we literally fix the roads during election time, and it only lasts for the time that election is going on,
Yeah, pretty much.
right? So like what is the contingency plan in regards to getting better materials, in getting better workmen who are actually dedicated to fixing my road, right?
Right.
With the government, why are they only fixing the road for a short period of time,
Right.
and in other places the roads are fixed and they last for a year until a disaster comes and it destroys, and then they rebuild?
Well, the
Why is
highway that we're paying for, the China Harbor Highway, that nice and nicely done,
unclean?
but we're
Yeah,
paying
and
enough
you see
toll
the
for it
Chinese.
on top of the
Yeah, you see the
tax.
Chinese out there. They're always cutting the grass up on the side there, and everything is maintained properly. Why is it that we as Jamaicans ourselves, yes, we're out of many one people, but why is it that we have to import these type of persons to actually get the work
Exactly.
done,
Exactly.
right?
So,
And then the pay that we're giving them, it's it is incorrigible to what we are paying our actual Jamaicans who are born and raised here. They're
yeah.
getting so much money that we don't know where our funds are going.
Yes. So, Danneak, I thank you again. Mr. Noble, just give us some comic relief because it's a serious situation out there for young people, for the entire country. Mr. Noble said they're waiting for them to become big trees. We don't want them to become big trees.
No, we
We
have to cut
want
them down,
to
man.
create, opportunities for us to maintain these things ourselves where possible. Sovereignty. Since you're not doing it, you're paying tax for it, and you're still not seeing where the tax money going, it means we now have to take it in hand. So I would like to say, Danneak, before you go, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you all uniters in the chat. Good night to all of you. Any parting words, Mr. Crawford? Anything for the young people? Anything at all you want to say? I'm not sure if you're hearing me. You're hearing me, Mr. Vincenzo? Yes, I think Mr. Vincenzo got cut off there. So, Uniters, UIC, Danneak, again, thank you for joining us. One Jamaica, stronger together. You've heard the youth voice. You've heard it more than once. They're all saying the same thing. We're looking for opportunities. They need to see a better, brighter future. And we, as the UIC, can provide that platform and that solution. Let's step it up. Let's donate. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's help the UIC to help more of these young people. Yes, Mr. Uncensored Reasoning need to bring on more young people to talk. We'll try and get them in there, mixed in. Mr. Crawford, are you hearing me? We're about to close off. Wanted to hear if you have anything to say in parting, in closing. Are you hearing me? I'm not hearing you. So we're going to go. Yes, Mr. Pattinson, One Jamaica, Stronger Together. Have a good night, Uniters. And once again, we talk soon. Tune in for our live. We have another one coming up on Sunday, and we're trying to stay current with our lives. So thanks again, Danneak. Mr. Crawford, good night to you. Thanks for coming on, and good night, everyone. Over to you, Naika. Close it out. Thank you. One Jamaica, Stronger Together.